Hey, just wanted to ask you a few things since you got the V record, the 22 and a half, and what are your thoughts on Jared Allen? Vikings got did a lot to get him, and he's been a really productive player so far. But as a great defensive end in your own right, what do you see when you watch that guy play?
Well, he's relentless. I mean, he works. He's never going to give up. He's a leader. He's a motivator. I mean, he does all the things that you need a player to do. And not just, when I say player, I mean a defensive end. I mean a player. I mean, the way he handles himself, the way he goes out there on the field and his approach to the game only helps to motivate those other guys around him.
Right.
And, you look at Jared and you look at a lot of free agents and guys who swap teams every year. But very rarely do you get a guy now, you look and you go, he's worth every penny. Could have paid him more and not felt bad about it. He is that guy. You look and you go, he's worth every penny. He's lived up to every dollar he's earned, which is very hard to say in a lot of senses because when you pay guys a certain amount of money, sometimes you feel as if some get satisfied. He is definitely not that guy.
Wow. Now, when you were a great versatile all-around guy, and you see nowadays there's sort of these specialists and things.
Yeah.
Jared, I thought he was frankly one-dimensional, but as I've watched him over these past season and a half, he looks like a very good run defender. I mean, what are your thoughts on him? I mean, is he a pass rush guy, or do you see him as a complete guy?
Well, I think you and I were thinking the same thing. I think early in his career he was he worked hard, but he wasn't the best run stopper.
Right.
He was more of a pass rusher. But I think he's worked really hard at his run stopping ability, and it's showing because now you can leave him on the field for 4 downs. You don't just think he's going to run up the field and it compromise you in the running game.
Right.
And I think that's a compliment because most people say, "Oh, this guy, he's a great. Look how many sacks he has." You know what? Always look and think. In a lot of senses, if you could just focus on one thing. Like, okay, every play I'm going to run up and get a sack.
Right.
That's easy.
Right.
The tough thing is to be a guy that you're out there every down. You got to determine run or pass. You got to go out there and pound on 300-pounders against that run and hold your own. And then in the fourth quarter, still be able to get around them and hit a quarterback.
Right.
That's a defensive end. Other guys are just specialists.
Right.
And Jared is a defensive end. He's not a specialist like I thought he was at first. Watching him now, Howie Long and I always talk about how we call him Gumby. Because of the way his body flexes and moves and the way he can get to some of these tight spaces. And I have all the respect in the world for him and his game because he does everything, which I took pride in doing, and I see he does too. So from a guy like me, I look at it and I go, I appreciate and I respect what he does.
Right. Right. Now, this may be a difficult question to ask you, but you played on your Super Bowl season. You guys had a ridiculous D-line. Just tremendous. I mean, from top to bottom. And the benefit for you to be able to get the numbers you did having a guy like O.C. on the other side. How good do you think this group is, this D-line that the Vikings have, compared to that one that you were on, which was obviously pretty special and, unique?
You know what? I think crazy thing is I had my best years without the best defensive line.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I didn't quite understand how that worked. But when I had OC and Tuck, it definitely made it easier on me because I couldn't get doubled and triple teamed and beat down all the game, especially when those guys developed their skills. And then to go in the Super Bowl that year that we won the Super Bowl with that defensive line that we had, it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling because you realize nobody can block you one-on-one.
Right.
But then when you have 4 guys with Fred Robbins and Barry Cole, 5 guys who all feel the same way, that's when your defensive line is unstoppable. And for us, watching the game the other day, Edwards looked great the other day. Pat Williams, I mean, they got the Williams brothers, Jared. That defensive line is as good as we were, and they have that same mentality. No one person can block me, but yet you can't double team everybody, so somebody's always going to make a play.
Right. Did you guys have the kind of depth the Vikings do? I mean, I can't remember your backups.
Yeah, we had
did you have
depth.
good backups too?
Yeah, we had depth. We had a nice rotation, and so we kept a nice rotation. Really helped us out, kept us all pretty fresh. And for the most part, though, we wanted to be on the field. We didn't take a lot of. I didn't take a lot of breaks.
Right.
The more I'm on the sideline, the less opportunity to make plays I had. So that was always my mentality. And you see a lot of teams that throw an interception, and guys on defense are like, man, I was like, that's great. Let's go make some plays.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll make something happen, make a big play happen, get a touchdown, a sack or something.
No, I hear you, man. I hear you. What do you think of Ray Edwards? I mean, he was a young guy, and when Jared came in, he kind of got excited and said, hey, he's going to get doubled, I'm going to get one-on-ones, and I'm going to break Strahan's record. What do you think of when he said that?
You know what? At first I thought, well, who's Ray Edwards? Never heard of him.
Right.
But at the same time, I looked and I said, that's great. You should have that mentality. And I'm watching him the other day, and I'm thinking he's definitely come a long way. He played great the other day.
Right.
So you're watching it, and I'm thinking that's the mentality that guys should have. When people say, "What about the sack record and all?" I say, the thing is, it will be broken. It should be broken because I never dreamed when I came into the league. First of all, I lasted longer than I did.
Right.
But also to think that your sacks total will start with a 2. Like DeMarcus Ware last year to get 20 sacks. Now, I don't know why he didn't win the Defensive Player of the Year award. I think that was ridiculous.
Right.
But whenever somebody breaks a record, it makes guys think it can be done. And so Ray Edwards, to say that, I didn't take offense to it. I said, well, it's good. At least he's inspired to be his best, and he has a mark that he can shoot for. And I'm sure someday somebody will break it.
Right. Hey, when you see, Jared and his production, I mean, do you see him as a guy who could possibly do it? I mean, I think the situation has to be right. But, I mean, I guess more broadly, Michael, who do you see out there that has a chance to threaten it that's currently in the game right now?
I think Jared definitely could do it. You got Harrison in Pittsburgh. Doomerville's having a great year in Denver. I don't know too much about his whole history of sacks. I think a guy like Julius Peppers is so talented that if his mentality is right. But there's so many things that have to happen, man. I mean, I hate to say it, but half the sacks you work for, and half of them there, it's just you can't predict how many you're going to get. That's why, you're going to get 3 sacks? I don't know.
Right.
Because the games where you go out and you feel like you're doing your best technique and you're getting more hits on that quarterback, you don't get anything.
That's what Jared said. It's funny, he said the best game he had this season was like against the Rams, and I don't think he had a sack. But he felt like he just, was dominating his guy, and just didn't happen.
Exactly. That's a crazy thing. There are games where you're dominating and you get sacks, games you're dominating, you don't get sacks, and then there are the games where you're getting your butt whipped and you get sacks.
Right.
Like you can't judge a sack. That's why I'm telling you, when you can get a sack, guys better embrace it and love it and enjoy it and appreciate it because you're going to have those years where they just don't go your way. It's just the nature of the beast.
Now, I got to ask you this because our guy's on our team now, but over the years you've gotten a lot of ripping. Obviously, everybody knows that you deserve the record, but the whole thing with Brett Favre, did he help you in any way to get that last sack?
Yeah, I said, Brett, I need this last sack, man. Go ahead and hook a brother up. No. That's the crazy thing is I know Brett, obviously, and I played in a golf tournament a few times over the years, but everybody played it like Michael Strahan and Brett Favre are best friends. And Brett's going to take care of Michael Strahan. And you know what? I have too much respect for Brett and for the game and vice versa. And, Brett Favre, the great quarterback, everybody questioned it. And to be honest with you, was it even that important? No. My biggest record breaker was breaking Lawrence Taylor's sack record with the Giants, which I did the week before. I think 3.5 sacks against the Eagles of Donovan McNabb. So when I broke LT's record,
you mean for a game or for the season?
For the season.
Oh.
When I broke LT's record of sacks in a season for the Giants the week before that was the record for me. So the whole Mark Gastineau record and Brett Favre deal, it wasn't that, to be honest with you, it wasn't that important. It doesn't really matter. And I look at my career as a whole. I don't look at one sack or one season. I look at, 15 years. First of all, playing that position for 15 years. Didn't miss a game for 9 of those years. I'm more proud of that type of stuff because I worked hard for that, man.
Right. And, you seem the kind of guy to me, I don't know you that well, but just in, having seen you on TV and stuff, would it have bothered you if he gave you, for whatever, out of your control, but let's say he did just flop or whatever.
Would that
bother you?
No, if he's there, I'm going to hit him. That's what I do.
Right.
So for me, it wouldn't have cared less. And I look at it like sacks and records are meant to be broken. One day, like last year, if Drew Brees could have completed that one pass at the end, there goes Dan Marino's record. You got the touchdown record. Somebody's going to break that. Eric Dickerson's record. Somebody's going to break that. So things are meant to be broken. It gives somebody a benchmark. So I don't hang my hat on records. I look at it a cumulative career of somebody. That's more impressive to me than 1 year here and there. Everybody can get a year here and there.
Right. Get a year here and there. Now, you just talked about, Michael, about your remarkably long career. So what do you think about the fact that Brett is playing at the level he's playing right now at 40 years old, having played in the number of games he's played in?
I'll tell you what, man, it's amazing. I thought he was done. I mean, I watching him with the Jets last year, I thought he was done.
Right.
And now after the surgery, you see him come back to Minnesota. Seems to me as a person, just from the outside looking in, he's more comfortable there. He wants to be there. New York is a different beast. I mean, this city, you got to really want to be here. And you got to really, understand it. And I think he came here, and not saying he didn't understand it, but I just don't think he really wanted to be here. Now, I see him in Minnesota. He's happy. He's back in an environment I think he's more comfortable with. He's become like a kid again. And that's important because I know when I went back after missing training camp my last year, I was like a kid again. I appreciated football so much, and I realized it's coming to an end. Just enjoy it and have fun with it. And that's what he looks like. And as far as his arm strength and stuff like that, he's throwing the ball better now than when he was 25.
Right.
And he's making – but now he has the wisdom of a 40-year-old with the arm strength of a 25-year-old.
Right.
And I'll be honest, he's making my buddy, Mr. Visante Shenko, look good.
Right. Is that hard to do?
Yeah, that's really hard to do. Shenko's I used to work out every day after practice with Shenko. That's my workout partner.
Right.
And we played the Vikings. The first year he went there, he couldn't wait to get a hold of me until he actually got a hold of me. Or better yet, I got a hold of him.
Right.
And if you ever see him, please remind him of that.
I will.
How I pinned him down on the ground with one arm and then put my knee in his chest and let him know who his daddy was.
That's funny. Hey, what do you think about him? I mean, he was a backup to Shockey, who obviously was a very good player for you guys, and came out to Minnesota, got a chance to play, and he's just developed into a nice player. What are your thoughts on him, and did you kind of see some of that when you worked out?
Yeah, I mean, he was always talented, always a great athlete, could run. I mean, he run like the wind. With the ambitious blocker, would at least get in there and stick his nose in there and try to do that job. So to see him go to Minnesota, I'm extremely happy. I still talk to him today. I'm extremely happy. And the one thing I have to do, because I have to wrap this interview, is I'm going to send him a case of Vaseline Men fast-absorbing lotion. That way he can keep on dropping the ball, but yet his skin will be supple and soft. and then maybe that'll help him get a little bit stronger. So next time he faces off against me, may it be in the street or whatever, he'll have a chance. All
right. Hey, last thing for you then. What are your thoughts about this team overall? I mean, they're off to an 8-1 start.
Great
team.
Saints
are undefeated. I mean, you're an NFC guy. What do you think about, the matchup between those two teams?
I think it'd be a great matchup between those two because they're both well balanced. But I would probably have to give an edge if Winfield comes back and gets back. Minnesota defensively probably had the edge on New Orleans at this point. And I think offensively with that running game, New Orleans, and that's that passes with Favre's experience, I know New Orleans puts up a lot of points, but I think Minnesota, I would get the edge as a team right now, even though they're 8-1.
Hey, man, appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care, man.
All right. Bye-bye.